Namaskar. Today is the fourth day in the series of webinar sessions on organic and biodynamic home gardening. So today's topic is about application of lunar calendar in home gardening. So before proceeding further, let me give you a certain background about that. We all are connected with different cosmic forces. All the organisms, all the living organisms, all the non-living material, everything is influenced by the cosmic forces. When I say cosmic forces, it is about the entire universe. It is not only the earth. We generally talk about the atmosphere. We don't go beyond atmosphere. Atmosphere means above ground till the oxygen is there in the atmosphere, and after that is space. And underground till where our plants go, the plants' roots grow, and water is available, mining is done, etc., etc. So that is the space we generally understand, know, and talk about. But actually in nature, what is the meaning of nature? Nature is the entire universe, which is infinite. We don't know when it started. We don't know till when it will continue. Is there any end in time or not? Where it started, from till where it goes, what is the end and the start and the end of universe? Anyway, whether it is in terms of time, whether it is terms of distance, we don't know. We know only about whatever our scientists, the astronomers have found, which could investigate, could reach in the solar system and beyond the solar system, etc. When I say scientist, I am not talking about the only NASA and ISRO and similar organizations. Our sages, the rishis and munis of ancient India, the Vedic period sages, were also scientists. They had their own way of understanding the things, investigating the things, exploring the things, and devising the natural rules, how they describing the natural rules, and every activity used to be in harmony with nature. There was no way of doing anything which will destroy the nature, disturb the nature, etc. Wherever it has happened, it's not that it has not happened earlier. Wherever it has happened, and due to whatever reason, whosoever, whichever civilization has done that, that civilization has finished. So nature is the universe. Universe and nature is not different. We only talk about when we talk about global warming, when we talk about this carbon footprint, etc., etc. All these things nowadays, a lot of discussions is happening on this. This is all within the atmosphere, within the earth. But our we all are influenced by, we all are affected by the entire universe, and the energy which is driving the life, everything which is moving or stationary has got energy. The moving object has the kinetic energy, and a stationary object has the potential energy. This is simple physics. But the life force is driven by the energy, which is combination of kinetic energy and potential energy, and that energy comes from the cosmos. We consume food. That food is the building material. Like when we construct a building or a house or any structure, the bricks, the cement, the sand, the steel, etc., are all the components of building. But without the labor, without the manpower, that cannot be erected. Or if it is mechanized also, then also those machines need some energy to drive. So that energy in that machine is coming from petrol or diesel or electrical energy or some kind of energy. But for our body, for any living organism that way, that energy is coming from cosmos. What we are eating is the building material for our body. And nature has given the capacity for receiving that cosmic energy to the plants. The leaf of the plant is the natural solar cell. As we manufacture solar cell, we receive the solar energy and convert it to electrical energy. And then nowadays the electrical cars, electrical automobiles, many machines are working with the solar energy. But in nature, for the living organisms, plants have that capacity. Nature has given that capacity to the plants, to the green plants, to receive that solar energy and convert it into the matter, which becomes our food. So without cosmic energy, without understanding the benefits, the influences, the effects, etc., what is the nitty-gritty of that cosmic energy on the plants, and in turn, when we consume that food as a vegetarian directly or as non-vegetarian indirectly, because in the food chain, the carnivores feed on, prey on the herbivores, and herbivores feed on the plants. So when, as a non-vegetarian, when we feed on, when we consume meat, for example, the fish or the chicken or beef or mutton, anything, the energy coming to our body is from cosmos to plants, to that animal, and to us. Either it is direct when we are consuming the plants, plant parts, fruits and vegetables, or indirect when we are consuming some non-veg items. So this is a truth, absolute truth in the nature, and whether we know it, whether we understand it or not, but it is happening. So in our home garden, if we understand this and apply this and harness the benefit of this, because everything you do at least in two ways. One is the right way and another may be the wrong way. You do the right way, you get the benefit of that. If you are not aware of the right way and you do in your own way, you may be benefited, may not be benefited. So here let us know and understand how it works in the nature and how we can harness the benefit. We can take the advantage of that. Let's start. So the Earth is part of the solar system. The 12 planets are there as such. The Earth, Sun is at the center, and then Mercury, then Venus, Earth, then Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, then Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto is even further. That's how the number of planets, and many more planets have been discovered also. But we are concerned with the planets which are near to us, which have a direct influence on Earth and the organisms on the Earth, us and the plants, basically, primarily on the plants and also on us. So this is the 9 planets, can say, and coming closer to that, we are influenced directly by Sun and by Moon, because Moon is the nearest planet. In fact, it is satellite of Earth, but in physics it is a satellite. But here, for our purpose, we consider this Moon also as a planet and also Sun as a planet. I'll explain why and how. But let us first understand the Earth is revolving around the Sun and Moon is revolving around the Earth. So this is the arrangement, and Earth is getting the energy from Sun, and Moon is also getting the energy from Sun. Our sages, our Rishi Munis in ancient time, in Vedic period and before that, first thing they understood about the cosmos is the nakshatras. Now, what is nakshatra? In our Indian system, maximum relevance is of nakshatra, then Rashi, that is zodiac signs, and the planets. So let us understand what is nakshatra. Nakshatra is naksh and kshetra. Naksh means akash and kshetra means area. So to understand this, I'll explain it here. This is the globe, this is the earth, and the horizontal lines are the latitudes, and the vertical lines, the North Pole to South Pole lines, are longitudes. And this is how the Earth has been divided, and the time and the area, etc., are measured in different degrees. All these parallel lines are there. These are not parallel, but starting from North Pole and going to South Pole. So this is north south. This is east west. This is this divides the time. So if we take this entire structure into a cylindrical form, then these instead of on the earth, in the sky, above the earth, in the sky, let us consider it as a cylindrical form, and we find that these straight lines are there. I mean, imaginary straight lines are there, and the earth is at the angle, it is there like this. So the entire 360 degree around the earth, above the earth, in the sky, has been divided into 27 parts, 27 areas. 27 areas, not start like longitude, but above the sky, the North Pole and the South Pole, like this. So 27 equal degree, it has been divided into equal degrees. And if you divide 360 degrees by 27, it comes to 13.2 degrees or so. So each area above the earth is 13.2 degree, 13.20 degree, you can say, is the area of one nakshatra. Nakshatra is the area inside in the sky. So that is, every nakshatra is 13.20 degree. So what is the zodiac signs? That is, what are the rashis? So similarly, the 360 degrees have been divided above the earth in the sky into 12 equal parts. 360 degree divided by 12 is 30 degree. So every Rashi or every zodiac sign occupies 30 degrees. After 30 degree, next area for next Rashi comes, next zodiac sign comes, and it is like this, starting from Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, then Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. These are the 12 signs which are occupying 30 degrees above the Earth. So this is the calculation about the planets. Here, before going further, let me explain you about the planets. We consider 9 planets for here, total 9 planets. Out of those 9 planets, the relevance is of 7 planets in the solar system, starting from Sun, because earlier I said that Sun is also considered as planet, and also Moon. So Sun is Sunday. The 7 days of the week are named after 7 planets. So Sun is Sunday, Moon is Monday. Mars is Tuesday, Mercury is Wednesday, Jupiter is Thursday, Venus is Friday, and Saturn is Saturday. So these are the 7 planets, 7 days of the week, which are existing in solar system, including Sun considered as planet, Moon also considered as planet, and up to Saturn. Beyond that, the Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are too far and smaller than Jupiter and Saturn. So their influence on the Earth, on the organisms, are very meager, very minute. The reason is that they are because of their distance. And if I go to the first here, the first slide, you see that larger the more the distance, larger is the orbit, and in that orbit, the one revolution around the Earth takes longer time. For the Neptune and Uranus and Pluto is even smaller, so their influence on the Earth is practically very meager, because it is related with the life cycle also. And here, when I am talking about the plants can be seasonal or annual or biannual or perennial. So the Saturn takes 28 years for one rotation. After Saturn is the Uranus, and then Neptune, and then Pluto. So it takes even longer time. So on our seasonal plants and our annual and biennial plants, the influence is almost negligible. So that's why these are not considered even in our life also. I mean, any living organism, that for that matter. This is how the things have been understood and explained by our sages during, I mean, in the Vedic period. It is all this knowledge coming from Vedas. So 27 nakshatras are there, and 12 rashis or 12 zodiac signs are there, and all are in 360 degrees, distributed in the 360 degrees over the earth in the sky. And that's why each rashi or each zodiac sign takes is in 30 degrees, and each nakshatra, as I said, 13.13, 1.5 or 1/3, that is 13.20 degree. And the relation between the nakshatra and rashi is that one rashi occupies 2.25, 2.25 can say. If you divide 30 divided by 13.2, you will get something like this. And each rashi has 9 padas. I will not go into that detail because it is not required here. At the end, I'll explain that also. So this is the relationship. It is very little looking complicated, but just can see in detail later on. But here you can see that 12 signs are there. These are the 12 signs, and then the 27 nakshatras are there, and in between the planets relationship is also here mentioned. This is the relationship between the nakshatras and the these are the nakshatras and these are the 12 zodiac signs, the rashis. And here if you see in this picture, the relation between the rashis and the signs are little simplified in terms of angles. Starting from here 360, then 30 degrees, then 60 degrees, like this. Every Rashi is occupying 30 degrees, and accordingly the nakshatras are occupying 13.20 degree. This is the relationship between the 12 signs, the planets and the nakshatras. Now here if you see in 12 signs and the 9 planets are there. In that 9 planet, Rahu and Ketu is also there, which are not existing in solar system. I'll explain that in the following slides, what are Rahu and Ketu. And then 27 nakshatras are there. So certain signs, zodiac signs, have more than one influence of more than one planet, and of course the 2.25 nakshatras. Every zodiac sign have 2.25 nakshatras, and certain zodiac signs have one planet, and some have more than one planet. So this is how our Earth looks like with the latitudes and the longitudes, and this is how the degrees are. And these are the different regions which I have already explained about the tropical region and temperate region, etc., in the earlier sessions. Just keep in mind about this structure of the globe. Now the seasonal cycle happens the summer and winter, and in between rainy season, autumn, and all the seasons changes, because the earth is revolving around the sun, and it is tilted on its axis, 23-degree tilted. That's why one part of the year, the because of this tilt, that is during the winter, the northern hemisphere gets lesser sunlight, and southern hemisphere gets more sunlight during the day. So day is longer during our winter, that is in northern hemisphere, the day is short, and in the southern hemisphere day is long, and vice versa in the summer. So that's why that's how the season changes in the Earth's rotation around the sun. So these are the Indian system of different seasons. We actually have 6 seasons. Vasant, that is in Indian months, if I say Chaitra, Vaishak, or in English months, March and April. Grishma, that is summer, Jyeshtha, Ashad, or May, June. Varsha is rainy season, Shravan and Bhadra, July and August. Currently we are in Shravan month. Then Sharad, that is autumn. Ashwini, Kartik, September, October. Then Hemanta is fall, winter, can say. Margshir and Posha, November, December. And Shishir is the winter or cool season. Magh, Falgun, and January, February. This is how the distribution is, but it is not exactly month by month, but it depends on the timing, because our Indian system months actually the first day of the month is the Prathama, or the first day of the waxing phase. that is after the new moon or the Amavasya, the first day is the first day of the month. And this Amavasya or the first day, that is Prathama of the waxing day, waxing phase, or the first day, it is not fixed that every month it will be on the same date as per the English months. So we'll talk about that in following slides. This is how the different 6 months, 6 seasons are divided, and according to the English months and according to the Indian months, this is how it is spread. So 6 seasons have a deep relationship with our cropping system and the festival system. In our Indian system, in our Vedic system, I should say, because our tradition starts from Vedic period and before. So the seasons, the climate, the months, and the name of the months, and the crops, cropping, sowing time, harvesting time, and other activities in between, and our festivals, all are deeply related. That means, what I mean to say, that our festivals and our cultivation are intermingled. Of course, we are now almost, we have forgotten all these things in the tribals still are, they know, they are following it, but it is almost eliminated from our knowledge. But in nature, all these things exist. They have the relationship, the cropping, the plant's life cycle, and the season part of the year. These all are deeply connected. So we have to reinvent. We have to understand this, and let us use the benefit of that. So this is how the relations, the 4 factors like sun, moon, and the zodiac signs and earth. So how the influence, the cosmic energy, influence of cosmic energy falls on the earth. I am trying to explain it here. This is the sun, and this is the earth, and this is the moon. Now, sun is not solid. It is a globe. It is a gas ball. So anything can pass through that. It can penetrate and pass through that. There is no resistance. There is no obstruction in that. So behind the sun, this is the 30 degree. From here, as you move away from sun, on the other side of the sun, the area increases, and different zodiac signs are located within that 30 degree, and the influence of that zodiac sign is within that 30 degree and converging through the sun on the earth. Okay. So because sun is a gas ball, the energy from this is able to penetrate through the sun and falling on the earth, the side of the earth which is facing the sun. And because earth is revolving on its axis, so every side of the earth is coming in front of this 30 degrees in one part of the day. And if we divide this whole day, 24 hours, then we find that every this zodiac sign is able to influence all the sides of the earth till the earth is moving, and because earth is moving on the axis around the earth, so as the earth is moving, and say earth is traveling from here to here, that is traveling here, but this angle is continuously changing. So till the earth is facing this angle, the face of the earth, any point of the earth is able to face this energy region, this area, can say. Further detail, I'll not go into that because that becomes a part of the astrology. So I'll not go into that. In fact, I can explain, but not required here. But coming to the moon, because in our Indian system, the moon is considered rather than the sun sign, the moon sign is more important. Why? Because this movement, sorry, this movement or covering this 30-degree takes 1 month, because 12 signs are there and Earth requires 1 year to take one rotation. So this 30-degree traveling or transit of 30-degree of Earth in front of the sun takes 1 month. So this energy is coming on the Earth for 30 days. And every day the Earth is revolving on its axis. So all the sides of the Earth is able to receive that energy continuously for 30 days, some time of the day, or almost part of the day, daytime. But moon is revolving around rotating around the Earth in 1 month. That's why our sages, our Rishi Munis have given more importance to moon. Moon is solid. Therefore, moon acts as a reflector of the sunlight. Because of that, we get the moonlight in the night, in the full moon. Full moon night, we get the moonlight because moon works as a very big convex mirror in the sky. So when moon is between the sun and the earth, the moon is receiving this energy from through the sun, but because of the moon is solid, it is not reaching the earth. But as the moon travels on the other side till it comes again, when it is not in line with the sun, slowly either side, the moon is visible, the crescent is visible, and then slowly the half moon we see, and then gibbous we see, and then full moon we see, and again it happens. So the part of the moon which is visible, that much part of the moon is able to reflect that energy on earth. That is one part. But on the other hand, the moon is whichever side of the earth moon is. But as I said, moon acts as a reflector. So suppose moon is here at this point. Now the zodiac sign on this side, this 30-degree, is falling on the moon and reflecting on the earth. So moon is always reflecting the energy of the zodiac signs behind the sun, behind the earth. The sign which is behind the earth, say on this side, this is the sign. The energy of this is falling directly on the earth, and as well as moon is reflecting on the other side of the earth. The side which is not facing this sign, but moon is reflecting on the other side. So that's how this sign is, because of moon, the energy of this sign is being received on all the sides of the earth, and simultaneously moon is reflecting fully or partially depending on the position in front of the earth, in front of the sun, and in between the sun, or which side of the earth, it depends. In the part of moon which is visible is reflecting the energy of the zodiac sign which is behind the sun. So this is how it works. Now, what is the relevance? So let us understand the rhythms of the cosmic rhythms, the lunar rhythms and the solar rhythms. So let us first understand the solar rhythms. There are 3 rhythms of the sun. One is the day, as the sun is, as the earth is revolving on its axis, day and night is happening, because the side which is uh, facing the sun, the light is received. So day starts the moment the sunlight falls on the earth, on the horizon, that is sunrise, and then whole day it is moving, and then in the evening the sun set we see, because we are that point of the earth, that side of the earth is going other side of the sun, so dark side of the can say earth. So that is how the day and night rhythm happens. Similarly, the season rhythm, which I have explained earlier, and then the zodiac months also I have explained. So these are the three rhythms of sun or solar rhythms. And similarly, in case of moon, there are six lunar rhythms: the apogee and perigee. What is apogee and perigee? I'll explain all the rhythms. Then waxing and waning. Perhaps we all know about that, waxing and waning. Increasing size of the moon and decreasing size of the moon. This is about the distance between the moon and the earth, which is not constant always. At one point of time in the month, it is the nearest, and at another point of the time, it is the farthest from the earth. So that's how apogee and perigee. Similarly, the nodes, the Rahu and Ketu. So the eighth and ninth planet among the Navagraha, which we consider and we worship in the temples also, the Navagraha temple. In that, 9 planets are there. Out of that, 7 planets, the 7 days of the week, and the other 2 planets are the Rahu and Ketu. What are the Rahu and Ketu, and what is the node? I'll explain. And then moon opposite Saturn is another rhythm, another situation about moon, Earth, and Saturn. Then zodiac constellations, that is the relationship of Rashi and Nakshatra, which I have already explained also. Then the ascending and descending phase. Also, I'll explain. This is should not be confused with waxing and waning. This is the size of the moon increasing and decreasing. But ascending and descending phase is about the path of the moon, the position of the moon in the sky. I'll explain with the diagrams. So let us first understand the waxing, waning, and the full moon, new moon. So this is the sun, this is the earth, and the moon, when it is between the sun and the earth, what happens? The moon which is facing the earth is on the darker side, and the side which is facing the sun is bright. So this bright side is not visible to the earth, but the dark side of the moon is visible. That's why in the new moon night or the Amavasya night, we don't see the moon. Because in the night, our sunlight is not falling on the earth. We are on the dark side of the earth. That is the other half. And the moon is also not visible. But moon is sometimes visible in the daytime during that time. How it happens, so that also is will be explained. Let us start from here. Then as the moon moves further and the crescent is visible, that is the waxing crescent, you can see. And then half moon, when it is perpendicular with the sun, the moon and the sun is perpendicular, that time half moon is visible, because this part is visible because sunlight is falling. And then further it moves, the angle, this angle is increased. So the waxing gibbous, the 3/4 of the moon is visible, and the full moon, when the moon comes on the other side of the earth, or earth is in between sun and moon. So that time in the night, the full sunlight is falling on the side of the moon which is facing the earth. So that's why in the night we see the full moon. And then again it starts the waning phase, and then the 3/4, that is waning with gibbous, and then half moon, that is the half moon of the third quarter, you can say, or last quarter starts from here. and then the crescent, and then again full moon. So this is how this thing happens, the full moon and new moon, and waning, waxing and waning phase. Here, if you see, this is the position, and during the full moon, you can see that moon facing the earth is getting full sunlight during the night, when the other side of the earth, which is not facing the sun, is the moon is visible because it is on the other side, and thus reverse of that is here. So full moon night, this is the position, and new moon night or Amavasya night, this is the position. That's why in the night there is nothing on this side of the earth, so we don't see the moon. But in the daytime, the moon is here between the earth and the sun. But sometimes, depending on the position of the moon, that is ascending and descending, wherever is there, depending on that, sometimes daytime we see the moon. This is the position of full moon and the new moon. This is how it looks. So these are the phases. In the northern hemisphere, the waxing phase. In the waxing phase, you see the crescent, and then the half moon, and then the gibbous moon. In the waxing phase, it is increasing, and increasing from the right hand side. And then full moon comes, and then decreasing starts from the left hand side, the gibbous, waning gibbous, and then half moon, and then the crescent, waning crescent. It is reducing from the left hand side, or darkness is increasing from the right hand side, just opposite of this. And same thing, if you try to compare in the southern hemisphere, it happens opposite. That means in the waxing phase, the increase of moon will be from the left hand side, and decrease of moon will be from the right hand side. This nowadays we have the different kind of instruments, high quality instruments, and everything can be seen and measured. But during the ancient times, during the Vedic period, our sages used to use our body part only for everything, and they used to see the things through their naked eye, and all the kind of measurements, etc., astronomical measurements, etc., they used to do with their palm and hand, and like that. So here you can see the waxing is on the right hand side, and waning is on the left hand side. And if you see the this thumb and the index finger, if you see, make a C shape, and then you try to see in the sky the moon. If the moon, the shining part, the bright part is visible, if bright part is visible, then it is waning. You can see here, this picture and this picture, if you compare, then this is the waning moon. And if you see the opposite, that is the brightness is increasing from this side, from the right hand side. This is the left hand. From the right hand side, the right hand see the brightness of the moon is increasing, then it is the waxing phase. And if from the left hand side the brightness is decreasing, then it is waning phase. So moon also rises from the east and sets in the west. And like sun, every season we don't see the sun rising from the same point on the east. During the summer in northern hemisphere, the sun rises more towards the east. When I say more towards the east, I am talking about the angle between the east and the south. The southeast portion, if you see in the horizon, in the summer it rises more towards east, and as the winter advances, it moves more towards the southern side, in the southeast part. But always it rises from the east only and sets in the west. but that path or the trajectory of the moon is more towards south or more towards east, depending on the season. Similarly, in case of moon also, that happens in monthly cycle, unlike in sun, which is a yearly cycle, annual cycle. So in the case of moon, the moon rises either from the southern portion, from east to southeast, southern portion, and then sets on the southwest portion, or it moves further and then on the eastern side, eastern portion, and then west it sets. This going up and down of the moon, like rising from here and setting here, then next day further moving towards east, and then further, and after a few days it is rising from here and setting here. This upward movement is the ascending phase of the moon, and this downward movement of the moon is the descending phase. That means rising from here and then slowly moving and rising from here after a few days. This movement of moon, or this moment of the moon, is the descending phase, and the opposite is the ascending phase. So every day, this degree on the circle, if we say 360 degrees between east west, like that, east to west and then west to east, 300 degrees. So every day it moves almost 12 to 13 degrees towards the east or towards the west, depending on the phase, which phase we are, ascending phase or the descending phase. And similarly, the rising of the moon also is delayed approximately by 50 minutes every day. So during the waxing phase and during the waning phase, how it influences or how it impacts, what are the different kind of impacts happen on earth and on the plants, etc. So here during the waxing phase, that is from this to this phase, when the size of the moon is increasing, the earth exhales. That means the air inside the earth starts moving upwards because of the gravitational force of the moon. The air moves upward, also the water moves upward. So soil releases, earth exhales. As we do the breathing, inhaling and exhaling, similarly earth also does the inhaling and exhaling activity, and that is related with the moon. When we see in the monthly cycle, there, for that also, that inhaling and exhaling of the earth happens in three different rhythms. One is the day and night rhythm, that is daily rhythm. Second is the lunar rhythm, that is the waxing and waning at monthly cycle. And another is the annual rhythm, in which the solar rhythm, in fact, in which it is 6 monthly, can say. Slowly, as the moon moves towards the full moon side, increases the size, the energy draws up into the upper part of the plant. I'll explain that diagrammatically. What happens that the moon energy, the gravitational force of the moon works on the liquids, any liquid for that matter. And there is no argument about that, because we see the tides, the high tide and low tide of in the sea, in the ocean, because of the moon's movement, the phases of the moon. And the huge volume of water is moved upward towards the seashore, or moving downward away from the seashore, is happening because of the moon. So we can very well believe that wherever the liquid is there, because of the moon's attraction, during the waxing phase, it is increasing and it is moving upward. And similarly, on the other half of the month, that is in the waning phase, just the reverse happens. Can say the earth inhales, the soil absorbs. That means the water moves downwards. Also, air is sucked in the earth, and energy also pulls downwards towards the root. And so above ground plants and so below ground plants, I'll explain that further. And this is how the waxing and waning phase have the influence on the earth and plants. So ascending and descending phases of the moon, actually this cycle is of 27.3 days. It is not of 30 days. Different rhythm of the moon have different period. It's not all uniform. Here, the thing which I was explaining about the ascending phase and the descending phase, in this diagram you can see this is the southeast, can say east-south angle, the region, the horizon, and this is the southwest horizon. So at one point of time, suppose moon is rising from here on the east side, and this is the path or the trajectory of the moon, and setting in the west here. Okay, and then next day it will rise from here, and then it will set here, and then further it will be rise from here and set here. And as I said, every day this movement towards east will be 12 to 13 degree, and also the rise seeing on our horizon from the earth wherever we are will be delayed by approximately 50 minutes. So it's not that every day you see the moon rising from the horizon. It happens only on the night of full moon, that you see the moon in the evening as the sun is setting on the west, moon is rising on the eastern horizon, and whole night moon is visible, and then in the early morning as the sun is rising from the east and moon is setting in the west horizon. But from there, every day if you see, the rising of the moon will be not visible in the horizon, but little above on the horizon, and that degree is 13 degree approximately, or the delayed time is 50 minutes approximately. It's not uniform because it depends on where we are located. What is our position on the globe in the earth, the latitude, longitude, because it is not uniform from uniformly seen same way from every point of the earth. So each cycle of moon steadily rising and setting at various degrees in the sky in an increasing and decreasing arc. So this arc, as this arc is going up and up, this is the ascending phase, and the reverse of this is the descending phase. So 27.3 days means half of 27.3 days it is moving up, that is ascending phase, and the half of this period is descending phase. So roughly 27.3 means roughly 13.65, can say, if precisely if I talk about 13.65 days moon is in ascending phase, and 13.65 days moon is in descending phase. Now this ascending and descending phase should not be confused with the waxing and waning. Waxing and waning has got nothing to do with this. Waxing and waning is only about increasing the size or decreasing the size of the moon which is visible from earth. The bright part of the moon which is visible, that is waxing when it is increasing, and waning when it is decreasing. Ascending moon low on height, and then slowly it is moving up and up and up, and descending is starting from high to low. So this is about the ascending descending. So during this ascending and descending phase of the moon, it takes one full circle around the earth. It takes one rotation around the Earth, and because Earth is also simultaneously moving on its own path for rotating around Sun. So Moon's circling of Earth is not uniform, perfect circle, but the Moon's rotation around the Earth is something like this. Because along with the Earth, this is the Earth's path. You can see this is the Earth's path, and this is the Moon's path. Okay, so in the blue line, if you see different uh, names of the signs are there, zodiac signs are there, like Aquarius, Capricorn, then Sagittarius, and then this Libra, then like that Leo, Cancer, all are there. So during the ascending phase, that is 13.65 days, can say, the moon transits through these six signs, zodiac signs: Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, and Virgo. And the descending phase of the moon, that is the balance 13.65 days, can say, it transits through Leo, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries, and Pisces. Somewhat like this, if you see, then this is the relationship between the moon descending phase, ascending phase, and the different zodiac signs and the type of the plants. This diagram is more important for that. According to the zodiac signs, all the plants have been divided into four groups. And which are the four groups? These 12 signs have been divided into four types of signs, depending on the four elements. What are those four elements? Fire, earth, light, and water. These are the four elements. So Leo is starting from, say, this Aries. This is the first sign. So Aries is a fire sign, and then Taurus is the earth sign. Then Gemini is the air sign or light sign, and then Cancer is the water sign. And in this pattern, the signs are placed. Like again, fire sign Leo. Then Virgo is earth sign. Libra is the air sign, and then the Scorpio is the water sign. Then again, the third set is the Sagittarius, the fire sign. Capricorn is the earth sign. Aquarius is the air sign, and Pisces is the water sign. So here, if you see the ram, that is Aries, and Leo, and Sagittarius, there is a triangle. And these three signs are fire signs. Similarly, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, these are the three signs which are earth signs. And then similarly, Gemini, and then the Libra and Aquarius. This triangle is connecting these three air signs. And then the Cancer, the Scorpio, and the Pisces. This triangle is connecting the three water signs. The fire signs is the fire element is influencing the fruit crops. I'll explain that in next slide. Actually, coming slides. Let us first understand the different rhythms first. So Rahu and Ketu, that is ascending node and descending node. Node is a point, not a space. It is just a point, invisible point, imaginary point. And what is that point? This is the earth and this is the moon. Moon is rotating around the earth. So here, if you see, the moon is rotating and moving further. And here in the next stage, you see that moon is intersecting the earth's path. This is the earth's path. This is sun. Earth is rotating around the earth. So in the process of moon rotating around the earth, it is intersecting the earth's path here once, and then it is moving further, and then even further, and then second time again it is coming on the front other side of the earth and intersecting the earth's path again, and then moving further and coming on the same point where it was. So in one rotation of the earth, moon is intersecting the earth's path twice every month. It is intersecting twice. So in one half of the rotation, that is half of the month, can say lunar month, can say, it is intersecting once. And just consider this is the ascending phase and this is the descending phase. In this picture it is not differentiated, but just for that matter, consider this is ascending phase and this is descending phase. So this node is the ascending node, or called Rahu, and this intersection, this node, is the descending node, or Ketu. And relevance of Rahu and Ketu are well known. Although these are imaginary planets, these are imaginary points, but whenever moon is either this point or in this point, what happens? Why? What is the relevance of this? Why it is so much important and considered so much important? Because when the moon is at this point intersecting the Earth's path, the moon's energy becomes zero. And in the solar system, for the Earth, moon is the nearest planet, and we know the moon's energy, the gravitational forces, we know from the tides, etc. And the other phases, of course, other rhythms. So when moon's energy becomes zero in the solar system, for the Earth, it disturbs everything. I'll give a simple example. When you are on a crossing, traffic signal crossing, where four roads are, two roads are intersecting each other, this is also a crossing only. This is also a crossing. One is this path and one is this path. So this is somewhat like our crossing, this traffic signal crossing, the chauraha, can say in Hindi. In that, if signals are not working, if traffic police is not there and signals are not working and traffic is moving on its own without looking at the signal is off, what will happen? All the vehicles will come together facing each other, and it will be a chaos. Till that time, this chaos is released, put back in the order. The area is disturbed, the traffic is disturbed. So exactly that same thing, kind of thing happens here when moon is just on this point, and then again on this point. It becomes a chaos. That's why it is said that Rahu Kal should not do this, avoid this and this thing. So this is somewhat like Rahu Kal. For our purpose, this Rahu Kal is 2 hours before and 2 hours after. Sorry, 4 hours before and 4 hours after. Again here, 4 hours before and 4 hours after. As the moon is approaching to this point, 4 hours from that point, slowly the moon's energy starts decreasing, and at this point it becomes zero, and then starts again regaining, and it takes up almost up to 4 hours, and by the end of the 4 hours it is again back into its own normal this thing. So, you can just take the example of the traffic signal, where once the chaos happens, then it takes some time to again put it back into the order. Traffic police comes and then moving some vehicle on this side, stopping the other and kind of thing. So this is how it happens, and this is the Rahu and Ketu. And simultaneously, if you see, along with this, from the new moon to the full moon and then back to the new moon, this circling of the moon around the earth happens. This is the same explanation. The northern side, when the moon is towards moving towards the northern side, from the southern point, as I have explained earlier, from the southern side to towards north in the eastern horizon, rising moon is the in that phase when it is actually crossing, intersecting. That is the ascending node or the Rahu, and the reverse of that in the southern side when it is descending phase, it is the descending node. So the Earth's orbit around the sun is called the ecliptic. When the moon's orbit crosses the ecliptic, it is called the lunar node. And in our system, in Indian system, it is given the name Rahu and Ketu accordingly. So this is further, if you see in a larger picture, more clearer, this is the sun and earth is revolving around that, and moon is revolving around earth, and the intersection here and then intersection here takes the this intersection is the descending lunar node and the Ketu, and this is the Rahu, which takes 27.2 days, or roughly this Rahu and Ketu, from one Rahu to another Rahu, it takes 27.2 degree, not the 27.3 degree. Earlier I said 27.3 degree for the ascending and descending phase, but here this rhythm is slightly shorter, because if you see this distance, moon is traveling little more, and this distance moon is traveling little less. So this one circle is taking little less time, because the earth is also moving forward on its path. So MOS, that is moon opposite Saturn, that also is one of the rhythm and very important for our plants. So this is the solar system, and if I magnify this earth, moon and Saturn and the sun only this much, in this picture, if you see, this is the sun and this is the earth and this is the Saturn, and as and when moon, earth and the Saturn is in one line, sun is not the consideration here, because suppose Saturn is here and moon is somewhere here, it can be in one line. So here sun is because it's part of solar system, so it's shown for the explanation. But these three planets are important, and whenever this situation happens, that the sun is earth is at the center, and on one side of the earth is Saturn, and on the other side of the earth in line is moon. That means on the left hand side, because always moon will be in the inner side of the earth, so, and Saturn will be on the outer side. So here, if you see, on the left side is Saturn and on the right side is moon. This situation is also very important, because moon is the smallest and nearest planet on the earth, and we know the importance and the forces of the moon very well. Similarly, Saturn is among the 7 planets considered in the solar system for this purpose. Saturn is the farthest planet, and also not the largest that way. Jupiter is the largest, but the influence is maximum, very much influence. And we know that very well about the effect of the Saturn. And as I said, moon's influence works on the liquid, and Saturn's influence works on the solid. So I already explained that moon's force draws the liquid upward, and Saturn's force actually uniformly impacts everywhere all around the uh, Earth, because Earth is also revolving on its axis uniformly. So when it is in two sides of the Earth, it is in a perfect balance, because the here simultaneously I'll explain one more thing, that this is the Earth, and Moon, Venus, and Mercury. These are the three planets which are smaller than Earth and are considered to be the inner planets. Smaller than the Earth, and inner side, the orbits are in the inner side. Of course, Moon is sometimes on this side also, but it is considered as the inner planets. And Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn are bigger than the Earth, and also considered outer planets. Now, these three planets create the earthly forces. That means the force from these planets move from the earth towards the sky, the earthly forces, and these three planets are the forces are from the sky towards the earth. So heavenly forces, considered as heavenly forces. How it impacts on the plants will come in the following slides. But the heavenly forces and the earthly forces have their distinct role in the plant. The earthly forces give the or influence the vegetative growth in the plant, and heavenly forces influence the reproductive growth in the plant. So when these two strongest planets, the moon is the strongest planet, most powerful planet among the inner planets, and Saturn is the most powerful planet among the outer planets. When they are on two sides of the earth, they are in perfect balance. That means the heavenly forces and the earthly forces and the heavenly forces are in perfect balance. And what is the relevance of that perfect balance? Or when it is not in perfect balance, what happens? We need to understand. So coming to the perigee, apogee and perigee, this is the position of the moon when it is nearest. The distance is nearest between the earth and the moon. The distance is mentioned here, 2,26,875 miles, and that is perigee. The nearest position is perigee, and the farthest position is apogee. The distance is 10% more. So if you add 10% of this, then this is the distance, that is 2,53,125 miles. That is perigee. So this one circle of moon from the farthest point to again farthest point, or from nearest point to again nearest point, takes 27.5 days, 27.5 days. That means when moon is from apogee moving towards perigee, the moon's force is actually increasing because it is coming nearer to the earth. So from apogee to perigee, moon's force is increasing, and moon's movement is also little faster. And the moon from perigee point to apogee point, the energy also is reducing because it is going away from the moon, earth. It is the moon is going away from the earth. So this is another rhythm which influences different organisms and also the plants very much. So in perigee and apogee, in perigee, because moon is nearer to the earth, so it is looking bigger also and brighter also. How much bigger? 14 bigger. And how much brighter? 30% brighter, 30% brighter. And as compared to apogee. When moon is in apogee position and perigee position, the brightness and the size, the variation is 14% in size and 30% in brightness. So what is the effect of solar and lunar rhythm? So let us understand in yearly, that is annual cycle, monthly cycle, and daily cycle, as I mentioned earlier. During the winter season, that is, can say in northern hemisphere from 21st September till 21st March. That is the time when we experience the start of winter, the fall, winter, the autumn, and then fall, winter, and then winter, and then again spring. Okay. So during that period, the earth breathes in. The earth forces are active. The earthly forces are active. Because if we take the example of the temperate zone, where during this period, the entire area is covered with snow, the vegetation is all dried up, the leaves have fallen and the branches are there, and that also covered with snow. So it's all snow and white, snow white. But inside the earth, below the snow cover, the earth is fully active, the life is fully active. And we know that in polar area, the polar bear tries to dig the snow, they breaks the ice crust, and then it enters into the water to catch the prey, the fish. That means the underground, the life is fully active, normal, perfect. But in the hot season, it is just opposite of that, the other part of the year, that is from 21st March to 21st September. In the northern hemisphere, I'm talking about. There it is hot season. So earth breathes out and the light forces are active. The heavenly forces are active. The above ground activity happens. The life is full green and colorful above the ground. From the spring towards the summer and then rainy season, we see all the life becoming recovering and becoming active, and then full greenery, etc., etc. And this is how the annual cycle in broad sense happens. Coming to the monthly cycle, say similar thing happens for the descending moon and the ascending moon. That is, in descending phase, the earth breathes in, the earthly forces are active. There is no snow cover, is not related with the temperature, not related with the season, but it is about the moon. So descending phase, when the moon is going away, the moon's force are going down, the earthly forces are active. And just opposite of that, when the ascending moon is there, the moon is coming up and up, that time the earth breathes out, the light forces or the heavenly forces are active. That means if we understand in simple way, the force is upward, from the earth upward. What is the relevance also I'll explain. And in this part, can say whether it is annual, monthly or daily, it is downward. In the daily rhythm, if you see, the late afternoon, evening, during the sunset, the temperature is cooling down and earth is breathing in. The air is settling down and going in also. The earth is sucking in the air and water is also moving downwards. But early morning and sunrise, from sunrise then till the midday, and then little after, the temperature is increasing as the sun is moving upward on the sky, and temperature is increasing, and because of the increase in temperature, the air also is warming up, and as the warm air is moving upwards, the air inside the soil is also sucked out, or exhaling kind of process happening, and also along with that, water is also moving upwards. So this is how the things happen in the nature, and it is happening, whether we know it, whether we understand it, whether we realize it or not, it is happening. And same way, it is happening in every organism, even in our body. We feel fresh and energetic in the morning till the afternoon. When I say afternoon, around 2:30, 1:30, 2:30, around that time, the hottest part of the day, hottest time of the day. And then as the sun starts setting, the temperature is cooling down. But we also, by the end of the day is ending. I'm talking about the daylight. Day is ending, and our energy is also going down. We also start feeling fatigue, tired, and then we go to bed. Of course, nowadays the daily routine is different, but if we take the ancient times, even in the villages now, even now also, and if we go further, the tribals, their day starts with the dawn time and ends with the dusk time. Dawn time is just before the sunrise, when the twilight is visible at the eastern horizon. Their day starts, and by the time the sun sets in the west and the light is uh, uh, little bit light is visible in the western horizon, their day ends, and then night they take rest. And we can see that around us also in other animals, whether it is bird or other animals, there are certain animals which are nocturnal. Their cycle reverses. We can see the dogs, the street dogs. Daytime they are relaxing, sleeping in somewhere, some safe place, and by the time that darkness starts, and then they start active. They become active, and in the mid of the night, their activity, they are at the full energy. On the road, if you are traveling in the city or anywhere in the midnight, you see them very active. They are running around, playing around, or chasing the vehicles, etc., etc. So this is the natural rhythm in every animal, which is in tune with the these cycles, whether it is yearly, monthly, or daily, and also our plants. So what is the relationship between the plants and the planets, or planets and the plants? So as I have explained, the 7 days of the week are the 7 planets. So starting from the moon, because the first part of the plant, when the plant starts its life, germinating from the seed, first thing which comes out is the root. So root is the first part of the plant, and root is influenced by moon, earthly force, growth, upward force from the earth upward towards the sky. Then next parts are the central shoot, which is the sun. Again, inner planet only can say, definitely stationary planet, inner planet. So central shoot is the strength of the plant. Sun is stationary, sun is not moving, and this stem is also not moving. All other parts are growing, not moving but growing. So growth also is a kind of movement. The root is also growing, so that growth is also a movement. But the stem is stationary at one place. Of course, it is also growing upward, but it is growing because of this growth. Without this growth, this cannot grow on its own. So it is giving the growth. It is giving the growth. So similarly, the sun, in the solar system, if you see the role of the sun, and in the plant, if you see the role of the stem, there is a similarity. And then comes the branches and the leaves, and Mercury and Venus, again inner planets. These are the planets, again the earthly force that way, the three planets, as I said, the moon, the Mercury and the Venus, these are the three inner planets and earthly forces. Inner planets, when I say moving, not the stationary planets, these are the inner planets, and they influence the branching and the leaf formation. And in certain kind of plants, the Mercury's influence is more, and in certain kind of plants, the Venus influence is more, and they actually decide the arrangement and the design, the shape and the arrangement of the leaves, which is botanically called phyllotaxy. In monocots, it is the influence of Mercury, and in the dicots, it is the influence of Venus in general. But I'll not go into the details of this here. It's a very vast and deep subject. Then next is the flower, then fruit and the seed, which are the reproductive part and are influenced by the Mars, Jupiter and Saturn. Mars influences the anther and pollen, that is the pollination and the fertilization. Pollination and fertilization. Unless the flower, in the flower pollination happens, the anther formation, pollen formation and the pollination happens, fertilization happens, fruit formation will not happen. Of course, botanically there are exceptions, but this is the general I'm talking about. And exceptions are not normal also. Of course, everywhere exceptions are never normal. Then once the pollination happens in the flower, the fruiting happens, and that fruit is influenced by the Jupiter. What are the influences, how it influences, that also I'll tell you here. And then in the fruit, the seed formation happens, and seed is influenced by the Saturn. So seed is the last part of the plant. Root is the first part, which originates from the seed, and seed is the last part, which is actually the link for the next generation. Between this generation of the plant and the next generation of the plant, the link is the seed. So Saturn has the influence on the seed. So you can understand that the last stage of the plant and the first stage of the plant, Moon and Saturn, what is the relationship between the Moon and the Saturn, and when it is perfectly balanced and when it is not perfectly balanced, it cannot be. There is one situation when only it is perfectly balanced, Moon opposes Saturn, and slowly it deviates from that point, and one influence increases, another influence decreases, and vice versa. So when the Moon's influence is increasing, that is earthly forces are increasing. It is not only Moon alone. Along with that, because of the Moon's influence, I'll explain individually first. Because of the Moon's influence, what happens? The earthly forces moving upward, the force is moving upward. It is forcing the nutrient and the water into the roots. Because of the Moon's influence, the plant is forced the feeding. It is a kind of force feeding is done. The plant is hungry because it is in vegetative phase. It is sucking the nutrient along with water through the roots. Root is growing, which is vegetative growth, and above the ground the shoot is growing, new leaves are coming, and all round, if you consider this as the point which was seed once upon a time before germination, this is the center, and from here, because of the Moon and the Mercury and the Venus, the inner planets planetary forces, a radial forces work all round, upward and downward, because of the forced nutrient uptake, because of the influence of moon. The growth happens above ground, the vegetative growth. So root is also growing, shoot is also growing. So all round radial growth is happening because of the inner planetary forces. When this force is dominating, as the plant grows further, at certain point of time, these forces start dominating. The heavenly forces, the outer planetary forces start dominating. Their influence increases. That is the way in nature it is designed that way. We cannot change it. That is how the life cycle is in the plants. So as the heavenly forces increases, that means a force is influencing from the top on the plant, and because of that, the free growth which was happening, free uptake of the nutrient and the free vegetative growth which was happening, actually starts retarding. And what happens? The earthly forces is also working, heavenly forces is also working, but here heavenly forces are more in power, can say, from as compared to earthly forces. So instead of this vegetative growth, the plant gets into or triggers into the reproductive growth, in which flower is the first part. So flower bud formation starts. Instead of leaf bud and branching bud formation, the flower bud formation starts, and then flowering happens, and then pollination happens, then fruit formation happens, then seed formation happens, and the life of the plant is over. Whether it is a seasonal plant or annual plant or perennial plant, but in perennial plant, this cycle goes on annual basis, and in other plants, depending on the life cycle, it happens at a certain period actually. But this is how the vegetative growth and the reproductive growth happens. If we try to understand it further, then as I have mentioned about the two parts of the year, if we consider annual and perennial plants for that matter, during the winter in northern hemisphere, that is between the September 21st and the March 21st winter period, the above ground activities are slowly diminishing and then vanishes, and then again prepares, and the other half of the year, that is between 21st March to September, it's all active. So when it is all active, that time what happens? The slowly the earthly force decreases and the heavenly force increases. On the other side, the heavenly forces are minimum and the earthly forces are maximum. Here, same thing is explained. Earthly forces are here active, and here the heavenly forces or light forces are active. Okay, so this is how the life cycle goes on in the plants, and this is how all the plants have the planetary influences at different stages of the life and different parts of the plant. Now, the earthly forces and heavenly forces, the inner planet, outer planet, I have already explained here earlier, but here little more we can see, because this picture is more clearer. You can see that these two planets and this moon are the inner planets inside the earth, smaller than earth, and these are the bigger planets outside the earth, and the influences explained earlier. So coming to the lunar month, during the waning phase, the influence of lunar force is reducing because the size of the brightness of the moon is reducing. So the force from the moon also is decreasing, and you can understand that also along with the other influences of the rashis and nakshatras, that is zodiac signs and the nakshatras, the constellations. But here the reference is only to the moon's gravitational force, which works on the liquid. And as the moon is slowly reducing in the size and then becomes invisible on the new moon night, the hold of the pull of the moon's force on the liquid slowly is released. And as it released, because of the Earth's gravitational force, the sap in the plant sorry, sap in the plant moves downwards. And in this position of the moon, in the new moon night, it is concentrated in the roots. That doesn't mean there is no water in this part. All the water is here. No, it's not that. It's there. But here it is minimum and here it is maximum. Then again, in the waxing phase, as the moon starts increasing, the pull effect, the pulling effect starts increasing, and this sap starts moving upward. And in the full moon, it is concentrated in the leaves and the fruits. The distant part, the uppermost part, or the apical part, which is the leaves and the flowers and the fruits, etc., it is concentrated on that side, that part of the plant. Now, what is the relevance of this? In this situation, when the leaves are turgid and fresh, full of sap, the sucking pests are more active because they want to suck the sap from the leaves. And when the leaves are full of sap, the sucking pests are most active. Their population is maximum that time. So the life cycle of the sucking pest is tuned around full moon, that so that their population will be maximum in around this time, before and after of full moon, that is 1 or 2 days before to 1 or 2 days after full moon. In this time, when the sap is in the roots, the leaves are crispy, crunchy, less sap. So it is crispy and crunchy, and the caterpillars, the chewing pest, bugs, and hoppers, grasshopper for that example, or caterpillars, or different kind of bugs which feed on the leaves. For them, because they chew the leaf, they don't suck the sap, they chew the leaf. For them, if it is crispy, it is better. If it is soggy, it is not better. If it is more juicy, it is not better. For the sucking pest, if it is juicy, it is better. Similarly, for the fungal and bacterial diseases, which are airborne particularly, which infect the leafy part, the fruits and the branches, etc., for them also this is the time when the infection will be maximum. And for the soil-borne fungal diseases and pests, also there are certain insects which feed on roots. For them, this is the time when the root is more juicy and they relish it, the pests. And the diseases, fungal diseases and bacterial diseases also, they get the best opportunity and best condition for the infection. And in between, when the sap is moving up and or down, the other kind of pests and diseases, like which are infecting the branch, for example, and the boring pests which bore inside, for them it is conducive. When it is because they need the water also. So when water is moving upward or downward, not in this part or not in this part, that way, maximum concentration. This, when it is moving up or down, is best for them. So why I have explained this? Accordingly, we have to see in our garden the pest and disease incidence, and also the control measures, which I'll at the end I'll explain when to do what. So activities as per the lunar rhythm, if I talk about, then seed sowing, it is suggested that the above ground vegetables seed sowing should be done in the waxing phase, and underground vegetables like root vegetables, for example, carrot, radish, or for that matter, potato, onion, anything, beet, which are underground, should be in the waning phase. Similarly, for the manuring, if you are applying anything in the soil, the manure, etc., or in the growing medium, ideally, if you do it in the waning phase, it will go deeper, because that time movement is downwards. Air movement, water movement, everything which is there in the soil will be downward. Not the solid, but because of the moisture in the air, it will be the benefits of that. The properties of that will be moving downwards. Similarly, for the transplanting, if you are transplanting the seedlings, if you do it in the descending phase, because the movement again is downward, so root growth will be deeper and faster and healthier. So if you do it in descending phase, it is better. And above ground vegetables harvesting in ascending phase, because as I have said that the fruits and the leaves, etc., it will be fully turgid, fresh, and also by weight also it will be more. So you get the quality and the quantity both better if you harvest in the ascending phase. And for the root vegetable, it is the other way, in the descending phase, because again the quality and quantity will be more, because the sap is in the roots. Same thing is explained in little detail, different activities. Here, if you see that from new moon, the waxing phase, and then the full moon. So it has been divided into 4 quarters. The entire lunar month is divided into 4 quarters. One starting from the next day or the first day after the full moon to the 7 days, that is the first quarter. That is the crescent, can say, and half moon, the second quarter. From crescent to the half moon is the second quarter, and the third quarter is from the then the full moon comes, and then from the new moon to the half moon is the first quarter. Half moon to the full moon is the second quarter. From full moon to the again half moon is the third quarter, and half moon to the new moon is the fourth quarter. The entire month is divided into 4 quarters. Okay, and in different quarters, the lunar gravity or lunar gravitational force of the moon varies. It's not constant. From new moon to the first quarter, when it is half moon, the gravitational force is increasing, but not too much. Then from the half moon to the full moon, it is further increasing and on the higher side, and then maximum. Then from the full moon to the again half moon, it is reducing, but still good. And then from the half moon to the new moon, it is reducing and minimum. So in the first quarter, you should sow the vegetables or plants which are stout and strong and doesn't require any support. Those kind of plants, you should sow the seed, or you should transplant the seedlings or the plant. which doesn't require any support. Simultaneously, when you are doing that, either sowing or the transplanting, you do it little deeper. How much deeper? I'll not go into the detail again, depending on the size of the seed or the plant that way, but place it little deeper, slightly, depending on the size. What will happen, because you placed it deeper and the force is, lunar force is still increasing but low, it will be growing deeper. And by the time lunar force has increased beyond half in the second quarter, the root growth has already started and strengthening the plant and absorbing the nutrient and carrying it to the upper part where the maximum activity will be there, because the sap movement is upward, and on the around the full moon the force is maximum. The earthly force, just consider that what I explained, the earthly force from new moon to full moon, it is upward. And when you sow the seed or the transplant the seedling, which doesn't require support, strong, place it little deeper, it establishes itself stronger and healthier. And when I say stronger and healthier, it gives better productivity in terms of quality and quantity, and it faces less problems also. When I say problems, less pest and disease problems, because its own immunity is more better, because it is getting more nutrient, deep root system. In the second quarter, you should sow or transplant such vegetables or the such plants which require support, which are either creeper or vine, the climber, or require support, like for example tomato, which cannot be classified into climber or creeper, but the stem is not strong, it requires support. So such kind of plants you sow or transplant in the second quarter, because their root system doesn't go very deep. So those plants sowing the seed or placing the seedling need not be very deep. It can be just, as I have explained earlier in the earlier session, do that way. And their root system doesn't go very deep, but it moves more parallelly, horizontally. The root spread is more horizontal than vertical, deep down. Then comes the third quarter, that is after the full moon. The third quarter, when the moon's force is reducing, but still not that low. It is there. That time you should sow or transplant the root crops, because the force is downwards. So root crops, the activities will be underground, not the above ground. And root crop is a product which is underground. So you will get a better quality, better quantity. Maybe the plant above ground, the leaves, etc., will not be very gorgeous and too much vegetation. It will not give very good satisfaction to you, but the product will be better, healthier, more nutritious. And the fourth quarter is a resting period, when the moon's energy, the earthly forces are minimum. So that is the resting period for the plants. Don't do anything like seed sowing or transplanting of any kind of plants. Only activity which you can do is harvesting of such plants which are less, harvesting of such products or fruits which are less juicy. Like for example, brinjal is there, capsicum is there, chili is there, not tomato. Or cucumber is there, which is not juicy. Okay, or different kind of fruits which are not juicy, which have less juice content. For example, guava, for example, but not the pomegranate or pineapple or lemon kind of thing. Don't harvest those, but harvest the dry. And similarly for leaves, the medicinal plants, if you have, that is the best time to harvest the leaves or the flowers or even fruits, because that time the potency of the medicinal compound will be maximum. The concentration of the medicinal compound will be maximum during the fourth quarter, when the earthly forces are minimum, the sap is downwards, and the upper part is having minimum sap, minimum juice. So medicine for the medicinal plants is ideal. Similarly, for the root crops, medicinal properties with medicinal properties, also in the same week, because in the root the sap will be there and the uh, medicine compounds will be maximum in quantity, because from the root you have to extract it, and without juice the compound cannot be extracted. This is the thing. Another thing which you should do and can do is the pruning or cutting or clipping or nipping of the plant's different parts. The unwanted leaves, you can clip it, or unwanted flowers, you can nip it, or unwanted branches, you can prune it. That is the time, because the sap is downwards, so no oozing will happen. And if oozing happens, then fungal growth will happen, and then fungal infection happens. If you do it just before the full moon time, that is the second quarter, instead of fourth quarter, if you do the reverse, just opposite of that, second quarter, the juice will be oozing out from the cut portion, and there the infection happens from the uh, airborne fungus or bacteria or etc. And it is very much visible. You can try it and see it. And our elders, villagers, they know about that. They do these activities according to the lunar cycle. They are aware about that. If you cut the plant in the wrong time, if you prune the plant in the wrong time, after a few months you see that one side from the one side infection has happened, and then it is dying. It happens. So these are the 4 quarters. The fourth quarter, that is just before the new moon, the 7 days, the week, is for the activities of pruning, weeding also. You want to remove the weeds, that is the time. Just before the new moon, you start weeding 2-3 days before, and that time, because the sap is concentrated in the roots, and if you're cutting the portion above ground, it doesn't have the time to revive, because sap is downwards, and it will take another 4, 5, 6 days for the sap movement upwards. After the new moon, again it will take 2-3 days. So you give a gap of, if you are weeding say 3 days before the new moon, Amavasya, 3 days before that. So 3 days, then new moon, and then another 3 days. So almost 6-7 days time it will get for the revival, and that much time it cannot survive. So that is the time when the can say the plants above ground are at their weakest. You attack your enemy, for that matter. When I say enemy, I don't mean it, because earlier I have already explained that weeds are not enemy, but they are messengers and indicators. They tell a lot of things, and they are very useful. They have the benefits. So still, you have to remove the weed. So that is the time in the fourth quarter, when it is at the weakest. That time if you cut, it will not revive. So summing up the things this way. So ascending phase is of approximately 14 days and descending phase approximately 14 days that way. So the moon is at the lowest in the this highest. This all I have explained actually. So you can just have a look in this, and the moon climbs up higher and higher, and then here in descending phase it moves downwards, lower and lower. The plant draws up. The sap is upward movement in the ascending phase. In the descending phase, downward movement, harvesting the above ground plants, and descending phase below ground plants. And that's why in the ascending phase, the grafting, this is the ideal time for grafting. If you are doing any kind of grafting, etc., the sap movement is upward. So the graft will establish itself better. The connect and join and establish itself with the new plant, because grafting is from one plant part is grafted into another. So this is, and for the pruning, as I said, descending phase, the fourth quarter is ideal for pruning or transplanting, etc. And similarly, moon rise and this thing, northern side, and this is on the southern side, of course, on the eastern horizon. So these are the different zodiac signs, the names. This is where 12 zodiac signs. And the four groups, the four elements and the four groups of the zodiac signs, I have mentioned earlier, but here I'll talk in detail about that. The 12 zodiac signs are there, and the elements are there, like warmth or fire, the fruit, the four elements are there: the warmth, the earth, the water, and the air and light. So the fire sign or the warmth, the Leo, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are classified into fruit day in the calendar, lunar calendar, the gardening calendar. And here you can see the Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The fruit, its influence is on the fruit and the seeds. So that's why it is classified as fruit day. Means whenever the moon is transiting through Aries or Leo or Sagittarius, that day is considered as termed as fruit day. Similarly, the root day. Here, earth, the root products, root crops. The signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. The root day, because root products, root crops. Similarly, the air and light. The signs are Gemini, Libra, and the Aquarius. It is called flower day. It is termed as flower day. And then at the end, the leaf day, which is the element is water, and the signs are Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Because in the plant, the nutrient and the water is absorbed by the root, but it is translocated into the state to the leaves for the food formation in the plant. So storage of the water is in the leaves. The freshness of the leaves is because of the water. So that's why the leaf in the plant is grouped into the water element, and these are the water signs. So that's why it is called leaf day. The root day, because it is earth, it is underground. Similarly, the warmth, the fruit and the seed. Here the warmth element is connected with the fruit and the seed, because seeds are either formed in the fruits or without fruits. Only seeds like the cereals and the millets, if you see, for example, corn or wheat or barley or rice or millet, any pearl millet, etc., there is no fruit, only seed. Okay. So why it is connected with the warmth? Reason is that the seed contains oil. The fruit formation happens from the flower, and in the flower, the pollination happens, and the influence of the flower, influence on the flower for the pollination and fertilization is from the Mars, which is a hot planet, and that is one part of the fact. Another part of the fact is that the seed, whatever oil, vegetable oil we get, it is from the seed. The oil is extracted from the seed, and that oil is burnt for the fire. When electricity was not there, it was oil only which used to be used for the light, for the lighting purpose, and for the heating purpose also. So a seed contains oil, and oil is used for the fire. That means oil has the warmth property, the element, and in turn seed has the warmth, the element, warmth element, and in turn the fruit is having the warmth element. So this is how it is divided into four groups, all the 12 zodiac signs, and this is the relationship of planetary influence on the zodiac and the elements. These are the months when the different the solar months, can say, the zodiac months. That way, ideally, from 21st March to 20th April is the Aries, and then Taurus. Similarly, all are not same period and or not same dates that way, but it is all 365 days are divided into 12 zodiac signs. And along with that zodiac signs, the ruling planets are there. Certain planets are ruling more than one sign that way. For example, if you see the Mars, Aries and Scorpio, similarly the Venus, Taurus and the Libra, and Mercury also, the Gemini and Virgo, and all other planets, if I say, like Saturn also, Jupiter also is ruling Sagittarius and the Pisces. So and Saturn. So like that, except for the Moon and the Sun, all other planets, the real planets in the solar system. Sun is the center of the solar system. It is not a planet, although it is considered as a planet for the influence for the forces. And Moon is also a satellite of the Earth, not a real planet, but it is considered a planet because of the forces, the proximity from the Earth and the forces of it. So these are the two planets which have influence on single zodiac sign, Cancer, that is water sign, and Sun, the Leo, which is the fire sign. And among the signs, if I say, Cancer is the strongest fire water sign, and Leo is the strongest sun sign. So these are the strongest among the signs, respective element, and that's why only one planets are influencing, and all other 5 planets, which are real planets in the solar system, have been influencing more than one planet. That is, all are influencing 2 planets each, and respective these elements are here, like Aries fire, Taurus earth, Gemini air, and then water. Cancer is water. Again in same pattern. It again fire, earth, air, and water. Then Sagittarius again fire, Capricorn earth, and then Aquarius air, and Pisces water. So this is the lunar calendar or moon calendar for the gardening in one sheet, can say. I'll not go into the details. And depending on the color here depicted, the activities are also suggested on which date of which month what is suggested or supposed to be done, or ideally can be done, should be done, kind of thing. So at the end, I'll talk about the little bit of activity which based on this lunar calendar for the benefit and for the help of the gardeners and the farmers on the request of the few farmers and gardeners last year during the lockdown period. I have started preparing this on fortnightly basis. This is one example. I am preparing fortnightly schedule of do's and don'ts, daily do's and don'ts. It's a fortnightly schedule of daily do's and don'ts, in which, for example, this is of 6th March, and in that these are the do's and these are the don'ts. And along with that, I am giving the details of moon rise and set, and then moon transiting on that date, through which sign, zodiac sign, and which nakshatra, and in which phase, the descending phase. Similarly, sun, this sunrise and sunset, and sun in which zodiac sign, and in which nakshatra. Here, sun also, if you divide 365 days by 27 nakshatras, then you will find again 13.2. That is the number. 360 actually, not 365 days, 360 days. So sun remains in one nakshatra for 13.2 days, or 13.25 days approximately. So that means one phase, almost equal to one phase, one day here and there, the sun remains in one nakshatra. And this is mentioned, and then sun is in which phase, ascending phase or descending phase. And if that day node is there, then what is the time, and accordingly it is suggested that 4 hours before and 4 hours after, no work. So here you can see below, before is no not relevant. So after this time, that is 6.26 a.m. So up to 10.26 a.m. no field work, should not do anything, 4 hours. I have given the example of the traffic signal and the kavas. And then what is the weekday and what is the element day, that is leave day, full day, or part of the day, and then Indian month, and which phase, waning phase or waxing phase, and in that phase what is the day. So from this you can understand which quarter we have, like waning phase, and 8th day means already just moved into the 4th quarter, because one quarter is of 7 days, excluding the full moon day and this new moon day, because 7 into 4 is 28, and then full moon and new moon, so altogether 30 days approximately. That is how the lunar month goes on. So this is all about this lunar calendar, application of lunar calendar in the home gardening. Thank you.